And St. Johns County may kick $1 million more for Nights of Lights. St. Johns County may give the city of St. Augustine an additional $1 million to help improve this year's Nights of Lights, aiming to ease last year's traffic and crowding concerns. The city is requesting $1.2 million total from the county's Tourism Development Fund, a significant increase from the $200,000 provided last year. Mayor Nancy Sikes-Kline addressed the St. Johns County Tourism Development Council this week, saying the goal is a safe, welcoming, and smooth-running event for residents and visitors alike. If approved, the funding would expand the free shuttle service from 6 days to 35 days and cover costs for portable toilets and traffic barricades to improve crowd control downtown. The Tourism Development Council, which includes the mayor, unanimously supported moving forward with the funding request, but there's a catch. County staff must first evaluate if the full amount is financially feasible. Mm-hmm. County Commission Chair Krista Josephs, also a council member, voiced caution about the added expense, noting the board is also aiming for a rollback in the general fund. County staff will now determine how much can realistically be allocated, and the council will revisit the funding request on July 21st. You are our TDC inside man. What you got?
Yeah, and I couldn't talk about this yesterday. Mm-hmm. It was on the agenda, but now that it's the meeting's happened, in the budget they had allocated $300,000 for this year to help out the city. Mm-hmm. The total number that they're looking for is 1.2. So there's a gap of 900,000 in there, and that's where the staff has to go back. There are a couple of positions that have not been filled this year, going into next year, which might have some savings in it. The staff's going to have a tough time getting to that 900,000. I mean, it's a pretty tight budget in that category, because it can only come out of certain categories in the tourist development. Like obviously, it can't come from the beach, and it can't come from recreation. Maybe it could. I mean, that would be a stretch. But the biggest expense in there was expanding the shuttle service. Yep. And I have concerns because I don't know how effective the shuttle services are going to be if King Street is closed.
Yeah.
So the city has asked the state to hold off until January to do the closing of King Street. Yeah. Because I think that's going to be awful.
Yeah.
So that was a big issue there, and they talked about doing shuttle rides through San Marco to get the shuttles in quicker. So, and I don't know how well that's going to work because there's crosswalks on San Marco. Mm-hmm. So, I think it's going to come down to still needing law enforcement, which cannot be a component of this, the way the TDC works. Okay. So law enforcement still has to be involved in this and still has to be a factor. So, it shows that everyone sees how important Night of Lights is, and it's super important to our economy. Mm-hmm. But it's still, there's a big gap to close, and we'll see what happens in July. So, I was happy everyone was on the same page. We want to help the city, and we recognize this being, a major event for us. But there's still a big gap that's got to be closed there.
Yeah. So I have a question as well. So I have a question about this because so you mentioned that the city is pushing for FDOT to move the bridge closing.
They requested it.
They requested it. So so why all of a sudden now that they requested FDOT to keep the bridge open until January?
Well, I think what the timing is if they did it at this time, like if they're talking about doing it in July, then we're going to have 2 Night of Lights affected. If they do it in January, I think it's only going to be 1.
Yeah.
So I mean that's a huge difference.
Yeah.
So I think that was the rationale of where the city was at, and the city doesn't have any power over FDOT, the state. I mean, all they can do is make that request.
All right.
So and the bridge has to be done. It's just
if they wait to January, it's gonna it's also not going to impact 4th of July this year.
Yeah, well, it's not impacting 4th of July this year
Okay.
anyway. Yeah, so
All right.
they're not. They were waiting until after 4th of July
All right.
this year already.
Mhm.
So it's already not going to impact this 4th of July.
Okay.
So
I
it will
thought it was
impact.
coming
It will
quicker.
impact next year, no matter what they do.
Yeah.
So
Dang. Hopefully, just that one set.
Mm-hmm.
That would
So, and the other big thing that came out of TDC is we allocated money to the city of St. Augustine Beach to redo the splash park, you know,
at the pier.
at the pier, and then that money can come out of Category 3 or 5. So we'll see where that money, which has good reserves.
Right on.
The category that we're talking about for Night of Lights doesn't have the reserves to cover it, so it has to be reshifted around and reallocated. That's why
Yeah.
the staff has to do it.
And also from yesterday's TDC meeting, was there any discussions about like what was in the new Florida budget, like because I heard like 80 million of the budget went to visit Florida, the state tourism council. So was there any discussions about that or?
Well, the bigger discussions were they in the new state ordinances, they expanded some use of how you can spend TDT money, which is the taxpayer money. One of the big ones that affects us is the money now can be spent on lifeguards. You used to not be able to spend it on lifeguards, so we had to use the toll money to pay for the lifeguards, and then this money to pay for maintenance and cleanup and repairs of the beach. But opening up that allows us another revenue source to pay the lifeguards. So that was actually a good thing that came out of the state.
All right.
Okay. Nice. All right. Gas Buddy Gas report.